Hmm.
Hello, Rahul sir. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Awesome. Cool. So who all are there?
Yeah, so I'll introduce myself first. I'm Yashvi. I spoke to you on the phone.
And
I'm
please, Rahul, don't call me sir. So that would be easier.
sorry, I can't hear you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Don't call me sir. Call me Rahul.
Okay, sure. So I'm currently in my third year production industrial. I'm the head of PR and marketing in ESET. And
Awesome.
next.
Hi sir, I'm Sanskar Parik, second year Bachelor of Technology Civil Engineering, and currently I'm in networking and outreach vertical in ECL.
And where are you guys right now? Like she's in Indore. I asked her. What about you?
Sir, I am basically from Chittorgarh, Rajasthan.
Awesome.
Hello, sir.
I
I am Ritik Singh. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Hello, sir. I am Ritik Singh, and I am from Production and Industrial first year. And I am currently a member of ESL IIT Roorkee.
And where are you right now?
Right now, I am in Mainpuri at my home.
Oh, awesome.
Avi?
Hello, sir. I am Avi Bafna, BTech Metallurgy second year, and I'm manager PR and marketing currently in Indore.
You're from Indore as well?
Yeah.
Awesome. I think there's someone towards the very end. I'm not sure who she is.
Nishita?
Don't say Nishita. Okay.
Yeah.
You're on mute, Nishita. I think we cannot hear you.
And Nishita, we can't hear you.
There's on the right hand side, on your left hand side corner, there's a speaker. You have to click on it, which allows you to join via the computer audio.
I think
Yeah, we cannot. She's trying to speak. She's learning, but I'm.
I think she's unmuted, but I think there's some glitch with her.
No, she has to click on the left hand side. Left hand side down. She has to see there is a speaker button on Zoom. You have to click on that and click on join using computer audio.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think she has a technical glitch. Just a minute.
Cool
I have one more team member who's ready to join us. I'll just.
I don't see them, but yeah, go ahead. Who is it?
Yeah, it's Sahil.
Hey, Sahil. No, we can't. Sahil doesn't like you.
I'm afraid so.
Sahil, we can't hear you. Sorry. We cannot hear you.
Sahil?
Again, the same.
Yes. Sorry, actually, my microphone is not working. Hi, sir. I'm Sahil. I'm from first year GPT branch.
Okay. And where you right now?
I am in Chandrapur, Maharashtra, near Nagpur.
Oh, awesome. I hope all of you guys are safe. None of you are suffering from corona.
No, yes, we are safe.
And just call me Rahul. Don't call me sir. Right? It'll be easier to talk.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
I'm not getting so much respect anymore. So not bad. Cool. Glad to interact with all of you, and glad to even see so many folks from IIT Roorkee. It's always very compassionate to talk to anyone from Alma Mater, senior or junior. So yeah, let's get to what you guys want to hear. I don't think I have much to tell, but yeah, we can see what I will say over the next half an hour.
Okay, great. So as I told you, it's because
Rahul, not sir.
Sorry, I have to get used to it. I think I'll get used to it over the next half an hour. So, Rahul, as I told you that this interview is basically so that people can get an insight towards your entrepreneurial journey. Because it's always easier to relate to your seniors who followed a particular journey and then followed their footsteps, taking certain similarities or taking up on them.
Sure, makes sense.
Right?
I'll probably give you a bit about who am I, right? And how did I get into IIT Roorkee, and then a little bits and bits about what I did at Roorkee and how I ended up where I am at the moment, right? And of course, feel free to intercept in between if you want to know something more, or you want some interesting anecdotes which I don't have. But if you still want to know, I'll be more than happy to elaborate over them. Right. So I'm Rahul, right? I'm from Bhopal. That's my origin, and joined Roorkee in 2008 in the branch of electrical engineering. 2008 was the first year was mostly around studying hard. I had thought I'll do a department change, right? I don't know why I had in my mind that I even want to be an engineer, but I want to do a department change. I worked really hard, so did decently well in first year. But after that, I realized that engineering is not my cup of tea. So just barely make sure that you get decent enough grades, and make sure you just cruise to the college. That was the idea. However, I got really interested in managing events. And luckily I had seniors who had dragged me more like to take an introduction from me, and they were part of Thomso, so they took me in and worked as a volunteer, a security guard in a lot of Thomso events. That was second year, becoming security guards and co-coordinators, and also became part of Cognizance in my second year itself, in the central organizing committee. That was, I think, a key point where I started learning about how to organize events. It's an amazing experience. And as you would be in college, you'll be part of so many cells, right? It's an awesome experience to be part of it, not only because, you learn something, but also you develop bonds which last forever. So you guys will be doing stuff which is more close to than just studying, just being in the same class. So you will be interacting with one another over different things, and that helps in getting long bonds. So even if you look now, the friends that I have are mostly the people who had worked very closely in Thomso or Cognizance, because you end up working in ambiguity. Nobody tells you what to do in ECEL. You figure out yourself, right? Whereas in college, you're given a structure that you have these classes, you have these exams, you need to pass it, and that's it. So when you're given a structure, you're confined in those structures. However, when you take part in these activities, which can be anything, Watch Out, Kshitij, ECEL, Cognizance, Thomso, whatever it is, just gives you an ability to work in ambiguity, where you end up creating your own structures, and also you learn to work within a team to achieve a common target, right? These are the softer skill sets that normal engineering courses doesn't teach us, and that's what made me into who I am. I think that started my learning towards how to manage people, how to be in group activities, and how to work in ambiguity and create structure around it. So worked both in events in Thomso and Cognizance. It was an amazing feat, right? I enjoyed a lot. I still call it one of my tipping points of college. Then in fourth year, I think everyone starts preparing for placements. Luckily or unluckily, I got into Schlumberger in my fourth year. Schlumberger is like a dream job for everyone until they get in, because then they send you to oil rigs and then you start working in the sea. You never imagine doing that. So not really, like you think, oh, so much money, but you're like, where do you spend the money if you're in the sea? So that's what happened. So, and if you would see, in your fourth year, what happens is the only thing which remains of interest to people is placements. And how do you learn about placements is by talking to your seniors. So you will talk to your fourth yearites or the people who have passed out and ask them for experience in terms of how does Schlum interview, what kind of questions do they ask, what kind of questions does ITC ask. So that was the common questions that came to us, and we realized that if we are facing the same problem, our juniors would face the same problem, and hence we came up with an idea of PrepNut, which was my first startup. Yeah. And during our fourth year, what happened was the startups started coming up. Flipkart had raised around 3-4 rounds of funding. There was a startup called Let'sBuy.com, which Flipkart acquired. There was Snapdeal. Facebook had just boomed up, right? 2008 is when they started becoming really big, and by 2012 they were like everywhere. So there was the presence of internet companies coming out, and we were college students, and specifically Roorkeeites had very little exposure to knowing what an internet company can do. So we thought that we'll create a site. That's the easiest way of going live, and then everyone will just come over it, and that's it, right? But we had no business model in mind. We just wanted to solve a problem. So we were able to solve the problem, but they never had a business model. So we ran that site for around 2 years. Me and my friend Rahul Nanwani. Like, I have a fascination for name Rahul, so I just make friends who are Rahul. I have no other friends in life. So me and him, we both together started this company in fourth year. He was the developer. I was the Majdoor. I would go to every college room. So I interviewed almost 300 people from IIT Roorkee who had got placed. I went to each of them's room. I went with a recorder. I used to record their interviews. What did the interviewer ask you? What did you do? and then come back to my room, take a headphone and start typing those interviews, right? And then give it to him so that he can publish it on the website. And it went really well. So we still have like around 1 lakh likes on Facebook on our page, the PrepNet page, though it's defunct now. But yeah, it gives you a sense of achievement. However, it also tells you that, solving a problem is good, but you're not out there in a charity market. You're not out there in creating an NGO. So you need to have a business model in mind. So the idea got parked. Of course, I started working in Schlumberger. It was an amazing experience working there, and it also taught me a lot. So first job is something which people learn a lot from, right? First college, of course, you don't have many colleges, but first time you go to college, you have a lot of activities getting developed. And then, you go to your first job, they teach you the way you have to act in a professional environment. And Schlum is an awesome playground for it. And so as well as other companies, right? But Schlum taught me how to run operations and how to deal with people. And that actually still serves as the base for what I've been doing till now. Right. So yeah, this is a brief of how I, came into college and probably went into Schlum. And any thoughts, anything that, you want to know further about how it was in college, or anything that still intrigues you, like you feel that it's still unanswered, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions.
Yeah, so I would just like to ask a couple of more questions.
Sure.
Some specific questions. So you told us that we know that you graduated in 2012, right?
Yes.
So how is the difference between the entrepreneurship culture then and now?
So if you look at it in 2012, there were probably not even 1 or 2 seniors you could recall who had started a company from Roorkee. Specifically talking about entrepreneurship culture related to IIT Roorkee. And if you look at now, there are so many people who have started so much stuff. You can reach out to someone like me, or you can reach out to someone like Mukul or say Mohit sir, right? You can reach out to so many people. You know so many names. I know so many names now. But back in college, nobody had idea of any names at all. What you would hear about is even Bansals weren't as much famous, right? Flipkart was famous. The founders weren't as famous. And you hadn't seen any success at all. So now people have seen successes. So the model has been proven. And also, if you look at it, a lot of companies now come to campus to recruit who are startups. So Flipkart comes, earlier Snapdeal used to come, and even Oyo used to come, right? So a lot of companies are coming to campus. So the awareness about something which is related to startup has become a lot, right? Back in 2012, there was no such awareness. And Flipkart, I think in my year 2012, came on day 6. And nobody even wanted to go there at that moment of time. But 2012 was an amazing time to join Flipkart because it was in that curve of inflection. So you might not realize, but you miss the journey. I would have rather joined Flipkart than joined Schlumberger if given a chance. So in hindsight, that's how you can say it. So the awareness is increased, and awareness also in terms of seeing your peers do it. So now you have a lot of examples of Roorkeeites or Thomsonians creating their own startup in different spheres. We have Razorpay is an awesome example. There is Zetwork, which is me and few others from other IITs. There is I think HackerEarth. There is Class Plus, and there is so many of them now. Like you see that they have done decently well, and you know that if they have done it and they come from the same pedigree, why can't you? Right? So times have changed, and it's okay to fail. That has also become very common. So if you look at it, if I look at my seniors 10 years before me, you would still see them at Schlum, or you would still see them in the same company, because at that point there was no culture of startups. So they had to have a trajectory in the same, big establishments, MNCs. Now you can switch. Now changing jobs every 2 years is not a problem. Earlier people would be so scared that, I've not spent 5 years of my life. Can I change my job? But now that's not the thing. So I'm really happy that you guys have that kind of a budding culture where that failing is okay. Joining a startup is okay. Not knowing sometimes is completely okay. Right? So all these things have become accepting. And that's what has made the entrepreneurship culture more welcoming since 2012 to 2020.
Right. So when was the year when you started PrepNet?
So that was 2012 itself. I started in my 4th year of college.
Right. So
I think, go ahead.
Since there was no real culture of entrepreneurship, how did you start the startup? I mean,
so you get placed in your 7th semester. That's in December.
Yeah.
And then there is the 8th semester where you decide not to do anything in life. right? So I decided let's do something in life. The worst outcome of that venture could have been that we would have created a placement book for IIT Roorkee. That was the worst outcome, right? That was the intention. That if nothing happens, that will happen. So it was more around that I face this problem. Why can't I solve it for someone else? It was not really a startup. It's more like let's do it, right? It's more like a hobby than actually pursuing it with a actual strong mission. And that's why we did not even pursue it and take it to a logical conclusion. Whereas another set of people who started with the same concept, they were called Ambition Box. They got acquired by Naukri. So they had it as a mission to solve for it, so they could take it to a logical conclusion. They were at it, and because we did not do it as a mission, we were doing it more as a hobby. We left it in between. So that was more of a difference.
So do you think there was any learning that you took from PrepNut that currently helps you?
Not really. PrepNut, I was like a college student. There was not much learning. I actually learned a lot from my second job, which was BlackBuck.
Right.
So while I was in the sea, so I used to work in the sea. I was placed in the Arabian Sea for Schlumberger. And after 3 years, I started dreaming of just wearing normal clothes. I used to wear those big coveralls, hard hats, and big boots. And the only thing I could imagine was, when will I reach land? I'll sit in an auto. Sitting in an auto itself was a dream. So when you start having these dreams, you realize it's time to leave. So and startups are becoming big in the market, right? And who would hire a engineer, a manager from oil industry? No other normal industry would hire you, right? So startups were more than welcoming. It's like, oh, you are a useless person, let's hire you. So they hired all the useless person who were available in the market. So I joined BlackBuck, and it is a logistics startup, still exists. I joined them very early. I think I was in the hundreds of employees, and I worked with them for 2.5 years and saw massive scale. So I think when I joined, they were like 100, 200 employees. And when I left, they had around 2,000 employees within a span of 2 years. And there I learned what it means to scale. There I learned what it means to manage people. There I learned what is to manage ambiguity. Because when you work in a big establishment, they give you a structure and they ask you to run that structure again and again with high efficiency. Whereas in startup, they just give you ambiguity, right? They just ask you that this has to be achieved. You figure out your way and don't come back to me, right? So you learn how to create structures, you learn how to manage people, and you learn to grow with the org. And most of my learnings about how to manage teams came from working at BlackBuck. And even if you look at it, the team which works with me even today, a lot of them come from BlackBuck. So that's what happens. You develop good bonds, just like you are managing eCell. There is somebody running Cognizance, and there is a lot of ambiguity in it, right? Nobody's telling you have to organize that event. Nobody's told you to organize this thing, but you still do it. And when you do this, you develop those strong bonds because you're working together to achieve that common aim. And those bonds continue. So the good bonds that I developed in Thomso and Cognizance continued, and the same bonds which I developed in BlackBuck continued, and those people have joined in Zetwork as well.
So Zetwork is basically in the manufacturing industry, and you said your background was in electrical engineering, then you worked as an oil engineer in Schlumberger. So
Yes.
how did this transition take place? So moving from this background to the other.
Agreed. So see, when you're running a startup, your background of course helps you, right? It's a great help if you have the existing knowledge of the industry. However, what you should be at it is the problem, right? You will not be the master of all trade at all moments of time. You might not be a developer, but you will hire a developer at some point, right? You might not be a finance guy, but you will hire a finance guy at one point. So running a startup is not about knowing the industry, but knowing the people who know the industry, right? I know the problem exists, but can I figure out someone who can transfer me that knowledge and I can use it to solve a problem, right? That is what is important in startup, right? If you want to be an entrepreneur, and I think everyone is an entrepreneur, because you figured out your way to IIT, you worked hard enough. There was a lot of you were at it, so you had the hard work and dedication to clear IIT. So of course, you guys are all smart. Becoming an entrepreneur is about knowing to work in ambiguity, right? One is accepting failures. Third would be creating structures. Fourth would be managing people. You cannot run a one-man army, right? That's a kirana shop. Even kirana shop requires a guy to manage. While you start running a startup, start becoming big, you need to learn to manage people, and you need to learn to inspire people. Can you ask 10 more people to work for you who are at the same level or probably above from you, right? Tomorrow, when, for example, look at Mark Zuckerberg or Sachin Bansal or Vinny Bansal, who all they had people who are like 20 years experience than them working for them, right? It's not like they were trained to mentor them or to manage them, but they knew how to do it. So that's what being an entrepreneur is. You might not know it, but do you know people who know it, and can you leverage that knowledge to do something for yourself?
Right. I guess it's been around 2 to 3 years that ZTwork started, right?
We're gonna complete 2 years next Monday.
Congratulations.
Thank
So, what do you think was the biggest challenge abhi tak? I mean,
I think to scale, so we have scaled really fast. So we were the fastest growing startup in the country till March this year, and then Corona happened to us and then ZTwork. So no one grew in March. So you can't even say you're the fastest growing startup. But yeah, we were the fastest growing startup in the country. We within 2 years we had a valuation of more than 100-200 million dollars. And the biggest challenge of running a big setup is hiring the right kind of people and retaining them and keeping them motivated. Right? You might be able to figure out that there is a business model, but can you put an engine to run it, and an engine which is running fast enough to scale as fast as you want to scale, and also who is motivated and does things by themselves. Now we are 350 people, right? I don't even know sometimes who is getting hired and who's not getting hired. But do you have enough people whom you can trust to take those decisions on behalf of you? That is more important. So hiring the right kind of people, having the right set of team which will stand by you is more important. And this is what you learn while you do stuff. I'm pretty sure you would have developed group dynamics within your own team that, probably Sahil is good at doing technical stuff. So Sahil will just manage that. I don't even care about it. Right? Probably Yashasvi is probably, great at sailing something to the alumni, and she will take care of that. So now you've given tasks to yourself when you're running as a team. And that's what more important when you run a big startup. But to start with, I think, when you're in college, you might not have that kind of leverage because you haven't interacted with so many professionals. You haven't had so much bonds in the career space. For anyone coming out of college directly and trying to become an entrepreneur, one of the biggest challenge would be to figure out whether a business model exists or not, whether a problem exists or not, and whether people will pay it for it or not. Right? So one is, of course, you do this by getting your hands dirty. How many people actually want to use the service, you have to go down and figure out. But before even going down there, what you need to do is figure out what is the market size, right? And specifically if you're trying to create something big. So if you're catering for Kirana stores within IIT Roorkee, your market size is all the people who buy Kirana within IIT Roorkee, right? But if you're trying to create a Kirana store for the country, your market size is everyone who buys Kirana store. So if you're able to solve the problem, right, what is the quantum which can come to you? Or is it a problem big enough or not? And what is the kind of demand and supply which exists in the market, right? So all these things are something which someone needs to figure out. One, of course, by doing a theoretical exercise, and figuring out the actual problem by getting their hands dirty. Don't solve problems by sitting in a room. Sometimes you can get lucky, but not all the time. So it's best to go out, talk to people, understand, leverage your contacts, and then do a test pilot run, and then figure out whether it actually makes sense or not. And that is something which takes time and iterations. So even the present model that we run at ZTwork, it's our third iteration. So the first iteration failed. We went into the market with a model of solving procurement on a software basis. People were more than happy, but we realized that nobody will pay. It's easier to hire a guy with 20,000 rupees in India than to pay for software. So we realized that we pivoted into another model that we realized people are ready to pay. We find, that it might not last us long. And then we pivoted to the present model. So you might not reach the end goal immediately, but the ways would differ. So your GTM would keep on changing, but you should realize that that's what I want to achieve. You establish that and keep on following that.
Do you think being a person who has had work experience has leveraged you more than just being a fresher in the industry?
Of course, but in different ways, right? So being an entrepreneur doesn't mean you need to have an experience, but to manage a team, experience helps. Okay. So, you might be the most passionate person to solve the problem for education, and you might be able to do it as well because you're passionate, and no one can match your passion. But can you be same as someone who has managed a team of 1,000 people? You might be, right? You might have those skills by yourself, but there are a few skills which can be developed over time, and this is one of those skills. So that is something which you can develop over the journey, but there is no bias, right? So you might be able to scale faster, but who said that you have to scale faster? If you are passionate enough, you're enjoying a journey rather than the pace of the journey. So it's fine. I think it's completely okay. And then these kind of things can be learned from your seniors. from people whom you take inspiration from or whom you look up to, you can go to them and they'll be more than happy to tell you how they took care of those situations. They will never tell you in terms of, you do this, right? That's the wrong way of approaching. They would tell you how they approach a similar situation when they were faced, because your problems are yours and you will solve it in your way. But that guy can tell you how he solved it and what helped him. So I would say, if you have passion for solving something and if you think that that can actually lead to a actual dollar, then follow it. Don't worry about being part of an organization before starting yourself.
I wanted to ask about your co-founder. So how did you meet your co-founder, and when did you decide like he's going to be your co-founder, and how important is that decision to you now?
So my co-founder Srinath, we have 4 of us. So my co-founder Srinath was my manager in Blackbuck. So the company I joined after Shlum, he was managing me out there. So on, I think January 1st, 2018, he called me up and said that, what do you think of joining an early stage startup? I'm like, is it a trick question? Like, my manager is asking me to leave my company. I don't know. If I say yes, he says that, what the fuck are you looking out? If I say no, I miss out on an opportunity. So it was like a trick question from his side. I said, I don't know. I will look out for an opportunity. I'll see what happens. I don't know. I have not thought about it. So then he took me out for dinner and he told me, dude, we're starting up and it will be awesome if you join me. So the idea wasn't mine, right? So I bought his idea. Sometimes you just believe in some people and you follow them. You believe that together I enjoy working with him and I think he has the idea and I believe that idea would work. Why not contribute to it? Right? When you're ready to work for Schlumberger, which was an idea of a guy who started a company 100 years back, why can't I follow an idea of someone who I'm so close to? So he was the one who asked me to join. Then Srinath had worked with 2 of his colleagues in ITC when he joined after college from IIT Madras. One was Amrit, he's from IIT Madras, and another is Vishal, he's from IIT Kharagpur. Both of them 2010 pass out. So they had also worked with him. So Srinath got those 2 guys together. So all 4 of us decided and said that, okay, this is the problem that we want to solve. We want to solve for procurement in the capital goods and manufacturing industry. And we feel that the market is big enough. And we feel that there is a problem. There's a problem for discovery. Now, how it is to be solved is something we'll figure out. But the problem exists. And thereafter, we just went after it. And it's a very important decision, right? It's like a marriage. You can't just choose your partner and tomorrow decide not to continue. You can have divorces, but out here, divorces have financial implications. Right? If you're too big, then there are problems about leaving. So it's always good whenever you're starting company, have all the legal documentation done. Right? You might be best of friends. No two girl and guy decide to fall in love and get married with the intention to get divorced. So that's why government even signs the marriage certificate. So you should even do that kind of a legal documentation before you decide to start a company, so that everything is defined, right? So there is no gray area tomorrow. So that helps. And the kind of bond that you share with them is important, because there will be times then things will not go your way. I remember once that we had given some kind of a loan to one of the guys for around 1.2 crores, and he said he cannot repay back. And no, there is no right way at this moment of time, right? There is no one has taught you how to take money back from people. And at this point, one of your founders might just panic. He might just sit at, he might just put the blame on you that you are the person who is at fault. But if you're acting as a team, you would probably figure out a solution together. And that's what helps you solve problems during these times. Like, I remember it in a good way because everyone was so helpful. But imagine if one of my co-founders said, you are the guy at fault, I would just say, fuck it, I don't care. Right? So these decisions really can go wrong, but you can never know until you actually start pursuing it. So take a leap of faith, believe in your best friend that he will act like he is acting now, and just start.
Right. I also wanted to ask, there are a couple of TV series like Silicon Valley, and then there's this TVF Ka Picture, if you've seen either of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there are a lot of people who've asked me to put this question up. That is the startup journey as fancy as it seems in all those TV series, or is it as glamorous?
Not all, not even. It's not. I don't know. I've not watched as much. I've watched few scenes from these TV series. I've not watched Silicon Valley or Pictures, but I've definitely watched a lot of scenes from there. So this is the same as Sardar jokes. Are all Sardars as funny? Not really, right? It's a stereotype. So there are incidences where things happen like that, but that is like probably 5-10% of your total lifetime, right? So, and there are times when you don't have money in life, and that time nothing is fancy, everything is poor. So, but yeah, it's fun. It's extremely fun. Like I can definitely guarantee you, it's not as fancy, but it's extremely fun if you have the right kind of people around you. So even in the worst of times, you will enjoy and create memories. The reason being, I'm pretty sure if I ask you, what did you do 3 years back, you won't remember exactly what you were doing on April 22nd, whatever today is, right? But if it was have been a very major event where you had a memory for it, you would remember it. So you end up creating memories of your lifetime, and that's what you remember. So while you're doing a startup, whether it fails or succeeds, you're creating a lot of memories, and that's what helps you, enjoy it far more.
Okay, sir. So, what message would you like to give to budding entrepreneurs? Because nowadays, most people try to start a startup just as they pass out of the college. And
Amazing.
so, what is something would you would like to guide to them or a message to them?
So my idea would be that believe in what you feel is the right way of doing it. First of all, believing in yourself is important, and the idea that you have. Right? If you don't believe in it, you will give up. So first of all, believe in it, and make sure that belief is coming not because you want to prove it to everyone else, but it's because you have figured out that there's an actual need for that kind of a solution. And how do you validate it? Is by getting your hands dirty. So of course, don't ever shy from getting your hands dirty. Second is, don't be afraid of ambiguity, right? There'll be times when you would not know the answer, and it's perfectly fine. So that's completely okay to not know the answer, but what is not okay is to not fight to know that answer. And above all, leverage all your contacts as much as possible. Leverage your contacts with your seniors, right? Leverage your contacts with your parents and their and your cousins or your siblings. Leverage all of those contacts to get knowledge. Don't just sit down and hope that solution would come to you. You will have to go to the solution, right? And of course, when you say all of that, it means that you will be curious enough to go and talk to people. So just do all of that, and I'm not sure that you will succeed, but I'm pretty sure that you will figure out a solution for that problem that moment of time. That might not be the biggest problem to solve, but at least you'll figure out a solution, and you would know what is that path when you start all over again. Right? It's not like your first startup would be successful, but at least you know that what did not work, because you have figured out 10 ways of finding solution, and you've figured out 10 people who are ready to help you out. And that's how you develop a network. Tomorrow, when you're starting up, you would know whom to go to. For example, you want to start up in manufacturing something. You can come to me anytime because you've talked to me once, right? And you know whether it's a problem or not by just talking to me for half an hour. But imagine if you have to figure out that problem by yourself, it will take you probably months. And you might not even realize that you've not even scratched the surface of the problem. But just by reaching out to the right people, you can figure out the right solution. So just start leveraging the people around you, because you have an amazing culture, right? You have an amazing alumni base. You have an amazing set of people around you who are so smart. Leverage all of that, and also be at it.
Sir, your first startup, PrepNet, its office was based in New Delhi, I think, and
Yeah.
Zetwork is based in Bangalore.
Yeah.
So,
that
is
was
there any
because,
difference you believe?
Not really, man. It's about a team you work with. So Delhi was because my other co-founder was from Delhi, so he moved to Delhi after college. After college, when he started his first job, it was in Delhi. Whereas when I moved out of college, my first job in the sea. So it would be really bad. LinkedIn doesn't allow people to put working in the sea. So that's why it was Delhi. And there is no definite difference. If you're doing a tech startup, it is easier to hire the tech talent, but you can do that call whenever you become big enough where you require so much tech talent that you're not able to get in Delhi. So if you want to hire a 100-member engineering team, you might find it difficult to hire in Delhi and easier in Bangalore. But the problem is that 100 engineer requirement stage. Let's reach that stage and we can figure a solution that time.
Okay.
So you can start anywhere you want. The initial team will be of 2-3 people only. So you can move wherever you want to move and just be there.
Okay.
Well, thank you, sir. I'd like to end with one last question. How are you coping up with your work during this lockdown period?
By talking to people like you. One is that. So we do a lot of Zoom calls. The business has come down. Of course, the impact of Corona or the COVID-19 has been huge because it's the first time in history of in last 50-60 years of history where demand, supply, and fiscal markets both have suffered equivalently. So 2008 was only fiscal market, 2000 was only dot-com companies. Before that, it was the demand. It was only in probably the World War II times when we had seen such and such a dip. So work has come down. We are using this time to develop efficiencies and work on processes which we had not worked on before. And it becomes important to keep a touch with your team. So we do a lot of Zoom calls. We do a lot of calls where we don't even talk about work. So we end up playing dumb charades on calls. We end up playing Scribble. I suck at all of them. IIT Roorkee did not teach me all of these things. I was not part of any of the cool clubs. I was part of Cognizant, Thomso, probably ESL, and watch out people do that kind of stuff. So I never did that kind of stuff in my life. So now I'm getting taught all these stuff at my team, and that's how we're coping with it. Of course, I think almost all the guys have become chefs in the market. So all of them are putting pictures of how they're cooking. I'm like, wow, that's an acquired skill set. So yeah, people are doing stuff, they're sharing, and the sense of being there has increased because you realize that it's important to feel connected. Earlier, you took it for granted because you used to see each other physically all the time. So we're doing a lot more to make sure we feel connected by using tools that we're using now.
Okay, sir. So is there something you still miss about college?
Of course, everything about college is missed, man. Just sitting at Alpahar. I don't know, Alpahar still exists?
Yeah, but not
it does.
in the same form it was earlier.
Okay, so so we used to sit a lot in Alpahar. Having those late night bun butter at Basti was amazing. And Neski was just killer, dude. Like, I don't know how there are days where I just spent.
I think the net connection's gone there.
हाँ. Net का issue आ रहा है.
हाँ. तो चली गए. मैं एक स्क्रीनशॉट ले रही हूँ.
मैं लेट सकूँ screenshots.
Hi, yeah. So I think there was some network issue.
So Mike.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I did not realize. I got taught my own medicine. So yes, I miss a lot of things about college. I'm not sure how it looks now, but the best part was not worrying about anything and chilling. Right? You don't for the first 3 years of your life, you don't have anything out there. You can just chill, and you're given something to do, and you can just come back to your room and not do anything. But yeah, college is an amazing time, and you should create as much memories as possible out there. They'll last you forever, right? So even I think the Cinematography Club released a video of college, I think sometime back, with all the roads empty. And now everyone in our group is circulating same video, right? And there was a saying that if you forwarded video to any normal person, they would feel kya bakwas banaya hai. But when you have memories with every location that is getting shared, you become nostalgic, and you feel, oh wow, that's so good. Like an empty road, it feels so good to you. But to a normal person, it will be an empty road only. So yeah, college is an amazing place to be, man. Have fun. That's like the best time of your life.
Right. I think this was pretty much it, sir. And
awesome.
It was really great talking to you. I think all of us really enjoyed your journey, and we got to learn a lot from him, and it was really nice talking to you.
Same here. And please be in touch. Add me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then whenever you are in Bangalore, just reach out to me. We'll go out for a cup of tea or a coffee or a drink if you guys are drinking. Then yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, that'll be great. We'll connect with you on LinkedIn.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me around. See you sometime. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
सर कैसा लगा इंटरव्यू? अच्छा क्या? मुझे तो मजा आया.
बढ़िया आदमी था एकदम.
है ना?
सही था एकदम.